You know what, my sweet, beautiful, smart viewers? Recently, I have been thinking, and I know that's how typically problems start on this channel, but I find it truly amazing. If you think about it, Starfield is Todd Howard's ultimate dream. And I'm not kidding, I'm not making this up. This has been known that Todd Howard for like 20 or 30 years has dreamt about one thing, and that is making Starfield. You can find old forum posts about him spurging out how his dream is to make the greatest space game that there has ever been. That's right. It's not making Fallout 3. It's not making Elder Scrolls. It's not selling the 57th iteration of the Skyrim Collector's Birthday Edition. No, no. It was making Starfield. Yes. Unironically, that was the thing that Todd wanted to do the most in his life. And we all know how that ended. Starfield is by far the worst game Bethesda has ever made. And the sad part, honestly, is I'm not even trying to give Todd flack here for once, okay? It's the fact that Todd probably tried really hard. He probably tried to think of the best ideas he could. He even came up with a bullshit name called Nashapunk, which no one literally knows what it means because Todd doesn't know what it means. He tried so hard. He unironically probably put a lot of hours into this. He probably worked 24 hours a day, says some weeks even. And this is what we got. He tried to move mountains, to move heaven and earth. He hired the best people that he thought possible, which is ironic because I honestly think not a single person in Bethesda is talented in the least. I think the most amazing thing about Bethesda of the current age is that they have somehow managed to hire a bunch of people who are literally the most talentless losers ever in gaming. I do not believe that there's a single person that has talent unless that talent is to ruin things. The Oblivion remaster, the only thing Bethesda changed there was literally the censorship of the models and the female and male gaze. And gamers absolutely hated it. It's a joke. Bethesda's a goddamn. And Starfield is without question the. And I promise this rant is going somewhere, by the way. I promise. Starfield is by far Bethesda's worst game. It's even worse than 76. And before Starfield, 76 just took the crown. I did not like Fallout 3. I think Fallout 4 is just superior in every way. I'm not even gonna lie, it's just the truth, boys, and you know it. But 76 was a goddamn disaster. I played it at the start. I know how bad that game is. I still have probably more than 120 hours in that game, and it's garbage. But at least I can say something good about it. The weapons are kind of fun. The community is nice, but it's bad, it's garbage. It's a microtransaction riddled hell. But about Starfield? I can't say anything good. I unironically cannot find any. Well, actually, there is one thing I can say good about Starfield, but that is so not. Even that's like only semi good. And it's the fact that sometimes when you look into space from a planet, the view is not bad. It's extremely hard, by the way, in general, to screw up a view into the galaxy from a planet. It's really hard to do. And Starfield still manages to screw that up like 50% of the time. It's insane how, again, I cannot find a single good thing to say about Starfield. If someone offered me $1 million to find something truly good to say about Starfield, it would have to be the most minor thing ever. For example, that the red on this cup looks kind of neat. I guess that would be my best thing to say about Starfield. And Todd Howard tried really hard to make Starfield as best as he could. Emil Paglarino also did the same. Curse him and his family line because he is the worst thing that has happened to Bethesda. And these people are going to give us Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls 6. It's a joke. I don't want these games any longer. I just want them not being made in the first place. I don't. Why would I want Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 if I know that these people are gonna make it? Why? Do I really want to be disappointed? I know they're gonna be disappointing, so why would I want that?
Well, everybody, I'm just gonna give you the full warning up front, okay? In this video, I'm going to present a case that shows a lot of interviews and statements from Todd Howard and others within that sphere that suggests pretty heavily that BGS is not making Fallout 5 after the Elder Scrolls 6. There's actually, I think, reason to believe that they are working on something else after the Elder Scrolls comes out, and I have two theories that I will present to you as to what those could be. One, super exciting and bizarre.
That doesn't make sense in general. I have talked about this. Microsoft took over. Bethesda does one game at a time, but Microsoft doesn't care for that. Bethesda is probably, if they have not already started making, in some way, I believe 100% Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 are being made at the same time. 100%.
And impressive and just unpredictable. The other one, depressingly predictable. I'm just going to give you a heads up.
Now, they're not going to obviously come out in the same time, but they are being made at the same time because there's no way that Bethesda and Microsoft do not want to capitalize off of the Fallout TV show Season 2. There is no way. They literally rushed out the next generation update that completely ruined Fallout 4 just because of the TV show. And yeah, now you're telling me something as grand as Fallout 5 coming out and they're not gonna rush that because of the TV show? Hell no. Everyone knows that this needs to happen.
Now, if you find this case convincing as I go through it, this will probably ruin your day. So just buckle up.
I'm ready.
This is a wild one, I gotta say. I had this thought yesterday when we were watching, actually on stream, a video from Juicehead. And if you don't know Juicehead, what are you doing? He makes a lot of great videos on Bethesda and RPGs and stuff. And we were going and looking at
one of our favorite shills, no doubt. Juicy Boy is amazing at shilling that Bethesda Glock walk.
That video, and I had this moment where he played a clip of Todd Howard in 2023 talking about Starfield and everything, and Todd lets slip something very small, something you blink and you miss it, but I think it's very revealing. And when we look at all of these other statements he's made over the last few years, again, I think there's a really strong case to be made that Fallout 5 is not actually next.
Fallout 5, I want to do that. That'll be next.
That was more of like a general, it will clearly be after Elder Scrolls 6 at some point.
I don't know why you say that.
Okay, I'm gonna interject here a little bit because the reality is, if anyone has still not figured it out, you cannot trust a single word Todd Howard says, okay? We don't even honestly know if his name is Todd Howard or he just made it up. Todd Howard will lie about everything and anything he can. The guy's a lying machine, okay? Todd Howard, if you actually go into the history of what he has said about Starfield, Elder Scrolls in general, not even just 6, but also Fallout and Fallout 5 or what's happening, the guy just literally lies to get even the smallest bits of hype about things. Like, Todd Howard does not stop with the lies. And the lie detectors just explode when they're near him, okay? You don't even need to hook one up. It's already in flames the moment it just feels his presence. Todd Howard has lied, backtracked, flip-flop on every single statement about every single game. You cannot trust a single word this man says unironically.
Unless it's not next. That to me sounds like he is padding the release window, saying it's coming in the future. I'm doing something else. Very good video. Juicehead. Very good video. As always, guys, go subscribe to Juicehead. Just to instill the importance of that, Fallout 4 came out in 2015. If they make Fallout 5 next, you think Elder Scrolls 6 comes out in 2028, probably is the expected timeline according to Phil Spencer. And then you look at maybe a like 5-6 year development cycle for Fallout 5, and then you land at like 2033, 2034, which would put it almost 20 years after Fallout 4. 20 years.
Also, by the way, you know what Microsoft in general is going to now do? This is because of the absolute success of the... How do we call this even? The Oblivion Remaster Shadow campaign? What do we call this? Because it wasn't a stealth drop. Everything about the stealth drop was curated. And it was really good. I have to give it to Microsoft. They did a really good job. People were into it, okay? That was the best marketing ever. And again, it wasn't a stealth drop. That was marketing. They leaked so many things about it. They kept the hype. They probably paid a lot of people. It was 100% full-blown marketing about the Oblivion Remastered drop. And now I think Microsoft is going to be like, oh, well, this game is supposed to come out in like 300 trillion years. And then 1 week it's like, after that, it's like, oh, this game's coming out in 3 days. Get hyped. I think they're going to do a lot of that because, again, worked for the Oblivion Remaster. Why wouldn't it work for this? Again, most people think it was a legitimate stealth drop. Oh, if you think that, you have not been... Well, I pay way more attention than most people. But again, it was fake. It was not a stealth drop. That was marketing. And very, very well done marketing.
Years. And if they are not making Fallout 5 next, we are going to be approaching the timeline where we could have an entire quarter century between mainline Fallout titles, which is unbelievable. But again, I think there's a pretty strong possibility that that's what's happening. So buckle up. I'm going to go through it in this video. Put your tinfoil hats on. We're reading into stuff. We're looking at interviews and transcripts and weird off-the-cuff remarks and stuff. It's going to be interesting, but I'm just going to warn you again, if you find this compelling, it's going to ruin your day. So just just watch with caution. So to make this case, I want to go chronologically. Of course, Starfield was initially revealed back in 2018 at E3. You know, this was the showcase where they showed everything. They announced the Elder Scrolls 6 back then, which, just to like put it in perspective, it has now been more time between the announcement of the Elder Scrolls 6 and today versus the amount of time between Skyrim's launch and the announcement of the Elder Scrolls 6. It's like literally been longer since the trailer than the trailer was from the release of the previous game. It's been 7+ years at this point. Like, it's outrageous.
Insane.
Anyway, that's beside the point. At that event, they announced everything in their docket because ZeniMax was preparing to shop themselves around, and their hope was to get acquired by a big company for billions of dollars, which of course eventually worked, and they were trying to gin up hype for their franchises and IPs. They showed everything they had.
8 billion. Completely wasted. And the funniest part is Microsoft knows. Microsoft knows. You spend 8 billion. Imagine you spend 8 billion on a company, and then it's like, here's Starfield. Oh man, I would be looking for belts and closets. I'm not gonna lie.
Out on their docket, including Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6. After that, they went radio silent for a few years, of course, trying to salvage what was left of Fallout 76. And in 2021, they began really marketing Starfield because the game was initially slated for a release date at the end of 2022. Of course, it would eventually get delayed by...
When I started talking about Starfield, by the way, 50% of the comments were negative, and videos only had like 50% like to dislike ratios because people were like, "Oh no, it's really good." Bruh, you could, if you just stopped for a second and thought with your head and looked at the footage that Bethesda provide, you could just tell already that Starfield is gonna be garbage.
Basically an entire year.
It was the easiest call of my life.
year, but back in late 2021, Todd did a number of interviews, including one with IGN Unfiltered. Now, IGN Unfiltered is a podcast format show. It is audio only, and there are snippets of it, but it basically is a 38-minute recording of just audio. So I have taken the liberty of going and transcribing the entire thing, and we're going to look at a couple of very specific snippets of it, one here, one section later in the video, when I present to you my conspiracy theory for what the other project could possibly be, like 5% chance, but possibly. So please enjoy a little bit of stunning and compelling Starfield gameplay while we talk about Fallout.
Well, I guess what about Fallout when we're talking about it? Because that almost feels like, you've got Starfield, you have a release date that's in, I'm going to call it pencil on the calendar. You've penciled it right now. I don't think no game release dates get written in ink anymore until like
Yeah, we wrote it pretty hard in that trailer. So.
Well, I want to ask you about that in a minute, but
sorry for the little interjection, but I just find that so funny because they would go on to delay the game after that point, but they were very confident about the 2022 release date at the time. But yeah, anyway, continuing.
But then you've
Oh, by the way, that's a really good one. So Bethesda wanted to release Starfield in 2020, but that's when Microsoft bought them. Microsoft, the story goes, we don't really have, there is some confirmation, but we don't have like, okay, this is 100% what happened. But the story goes like this, and it seems very believable. After Microsoft acquired Bethesda, and Bethesda was going to launch Starfield, Microsoft stepped in, looked at what the hell Starfield is, because they knew about the disaster of Fallout 76 and how absolutely devastatingly shit that garbage went. And they said, no, you're literally gonna fix the game. Because what did they do? They were ready for the 2020. They just fixed bugs. When did Starfield launch? How many years after the original launch date it launched? Imagine what would have happened with Starfield if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda and say, no, you're fixing bugs for this game. You are not releasing it at this state. And Starfield's launch was still extremely buggy. Now, it wasn't Fallout 76 buggy, but it was still easily the second most buggiest release that Bethesda has ever done in their lives.
Seemingly publicly committed to Elder Scrolls 6 being the thing after Starfield. Sure. So does Fallout just go to the back of the line? As far as mainline, yes, there's 76, but as far as the mainline Fallouts,
right.
Is that going to the back of the line, or is that a thing where you've now got an entire Xbox family at your back and people
sure.
like In Exile and Obsidian? And is there a scenario where you hand Fallout off?
I don't see, look, Fallout's really part of our DNA here.
Yeah.
We've worked with other people from time to time. I can't say what's going to happen. We have a one-pager on Fallout 5, what we want to do. Again, if I could wave my hand and say, have
right.
that out. I'd like to find a way to accelerate what we do. But I can't really say today or commit to anything what's going to happen when, other than, hey, our cadence is Starfield and then Elder Scrolls 6.
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? There are a couple of interesting little tidbits that I want to point out. I mean, obviously, for one, it's a specific question about Fallout. Will you hand it off to somebody else? And he just simply replies, look, I think he was about to say, I don't see that happening. That's my personal interpretation of his statement, but it could be, I don't see a world where we don't do that.
This, by the way, goes into fully what I believe is happening, because again, people don't understand this, but Bethesda doesn't have the right to say no to Microsoft. Bethesda is owned by Microsoft. They do everything they do unless they want to get fired and maybe even sue, depending on how much do they not want to do garbage. And the thing is really easy. Todd Howard does not want to make two games at the same time, because he wants everything Bethesda to always be Todd Howard's baby. Freak. But Microsoft doesn't care. Microsoft does not care. So Microsoft, again, is going to force Bethesda to launch things. Again, the Fallout TV show. It would have never happened if Microsoft did not buy Bethesda. It doesn't matter what you think about the TV show. The facts are very, 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 very rock solid here. That the only reason the Fallout TV show happened was that Microsoft bought Bethesda. Todd Howard has been always historically 100% against it.
that. Who knows? I get the vibe he was saying. I don't see that happening. Especially because he follows it up with, it's part of our DNA here. We've worked with other people from time to time, so I can't say what's going to happen. And he just leaves it at that. He also says they have a one-pager on Fallout 5, meaning they have basically the rough outline of what they want to do, which is also cool. But again, even in this interview, November of 2021, not that long ago, Todd seems to have a pretty clear idea of what they want to do for Fallout 5. He's iffy and doesn't really want to talk about potentially having another team jump in and do it, which throws a wrench into the speculation and theories for like a New Vegas remake or something, or a New Vegas sequel from Obsidian, which is something we'll talk about later. But it seems like there's at least a roadmap and an idea. He won't go so far as to say Fallout is next after the Elder Scrolls, but he's at least communicating roughly that they know what they're going to do, and they will make one eventually. They have the one page on it. But don't worry, we'll get back to that interview in just a minute. But first, we got to fast forward the clocks to 2022, where Todd did a presentation once more discussing Starfield. And in this, he has a couple of interesting little tidbits to share. Allow me to play it for you.
The other thing you said, yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production, and we're going to be doing Fallout 5 after that. So our slate's pretty full going forward.
Oh, Todd, enchanté. You say you're going to be doing Fallout 5 after that? Dude, when this interview...
Okay, do we even care about the release timeline? Probably not, do we? Currently, the official theory is that Elder Scrolls 6 is the next big thing, and after that it's Fallout 5. Again, I think they're gonna be kind of, neck and neck, like one year, maybe 1.5 year between each of these games, because Microsoft just does not wanna, waste time with this.
So even back in 2018, he's totally comfortable revealing Elder Scrolls 6 is right after Starfield, and he confirms that multiple times after this reveal happens. And yet, with Fallout 5, he doesn't want to say that. Why wouldn't he just say it? All these years later, even in 2023, 5 years...
Fallout is generally a little bit harder because the Fallout TV show reanimated 76. Before the TV show, 76 was about to get canned because it just did not get any revenue, even though it was already a microtransaction hell. And 76 in general currently is in a horrible state where it's, again, just completely becoming irrelevant and probably gonna get shut down very soon at this rate. Happens. But because of 76 being a live service that actually, again, it's shit. Not a lot of people play it, but it's still a Fallout thing. That kind of muddies up the timeline for whatever you want to expect Fallout 5 to happen.
After this reveal, which is insane, but 5 years after, he still doesn't want to...
Also, the next remake is also supposed to be Fallout. Most likely Fallout 3, obviously, and the New Vegas is never happening.
Confirm that Fallout 5 is coming after the Elder Scrolls 6. And it may just be because it's not. It may be that it's not, okay? Like, I hate to break it to you. At some point, if a dude says something like 5 separate times, you gotta start believing him, okay? He doesn't want to clarify or specify it's coming next.
That's how lies become truth. Don't do that. That's stupid.
He doesn't want to say it. He walked it back after sort of suggesting it might happen. He walks it back and says, no, I didn't mean it like that. I don't think they're doing it after Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think Fallout 5 is immediately after. I don't even know if they're going to make Fallout 5. They may make Fallout 6 and let some other team do it. I don't know. But I feel like why walk all this back and be so cagey about it unless there's something to be cagey about, I've seen some people reply to this and they're like, Luke, no. He's just trying to get expectations low so he can surprise everybody when he reveals Fallout 5 again.
And
I don't know, man, maybe he just is like that much of a...
But the reality, by the way, of the situation is Todd Howard is the hype man for Bethesda in general. I mean, his face was literally kind of made in the company to represent hype and drum up hype. When you're talking about Bethesda, Todd Howard. When you're talking about Fallout, Todd Howard. Elder Scrolls 6, spicy mods. Whatever. It's Todd Howard always. That's kind of the point. He is supposed to drum up hype for everything. He is supposed to create people wanting and needing the next Bethesda thing. So every time he speaks, it's going to be a certain percent, a really high percent most likely, in exactly that context.
Showman, he just really likes the idea of surprising people in that way with something they expect. I don't know, but it's a bit of a stretch, I think. All I know is Todd's being really cagey about Fallout 5 and the timelines, and he wasn't cagey about Elder Scrolls 6, a bigger game, I would argue, than Fallout 5. And so I just find it strange. So let's go with this, though. What else is going on right now with Fallout, and what other statements has Todd made about it? Well, in response to the Fallout TV show popping off back in April of 24, Todd did an interview, in this case with IGN as well, talking about the show. Let's hear what he said here, okay?
Todd, I want to switch gears a little bit and ask more about the games. We obviously know that Fallout 5 is in the works, but you have said in the past that the plan is Elder Scrolls 6 and then Fallout 5. Is that still the plan, or is there any chance that that could change based on the interest from the show?
I'm going to avoid putting dates on anything. I've learned that the hard way. So obviously, you know, our focus.
She's not even asking about dates. She's asking about timeline, like order of things. She's like, is it next? And he will refuse to say it's next. Once more. He says, I don't want to put dates on things. I don't want to put dates on things. She didn't ask you to put dates on it, Todd. You slippery little fella. You know what you're doing. He didn't want to put dates on it. She didn't ask about dates. She asked, is it coming next? And he's like, I don't want to put dates on it. Todd's sneaky. He's a slippery little snake, I'll tell you what.
Okay. As far as new development right now is Elder Scrolls 6, but that doesn't mean that we're not making plans for other things. We're still doing a lot of work, obviously, on Fallout 76, and we see the community, so many people going into that game and kind of rediscovering it.
The irony of it currently being almost dead. Again, Fallout 76 is truly a miracle because it found a way to die like twice, if not thrice at this point.
Yeah.
And just so happy with where that game is at. And it really does.
So happy with the $100 a year subscription. I'm so happy.
And I mean, this has one of the best communities in all of gaming. Like, surprisingly, it's like a very, very nice apocalypse.
It is unironically a really nice community. I will defend Fallout 76 on this till the day I die. It genuinely is one of the nicest communities. Like,
Luke watches my videos. He knows that that's the only good thing about it.
You'll show up, new player, you'll have old players come in, just drop ammo and stuff and help you and hop in. Like, they are genuinely so kind. It's a really cool community. It very much is. So I'll agree with Todd on that point.
And we're doing a lot of Starfield work as well.
Great.
So we have some really good updates that are, going to get announced soon.
I wonder what updates that would have been. What update do you think he was talking about in April of 2024? I know, this one. Sorry. I'm just feeling so sassy.
Sad.
Because this is like kind of crushing to think that Fallout very well could have like a 25-year break between major releases. Like, it sounds insane when you say it out loud, but like, that's seriously what we're looking at. But we'll get back to that, because I have maybe a word of comfort with all this, but let's see, what else did Todd say? What else has he brought up? Okay, what else did he say? I also found this podcast, The Den of Geek, where basically they do a little podcast where you can sit down and talk about your show. And in this case, they did a podcast talking.
Then, from where did these shows come out? Also, acceptably hot, yes. It is what it is.
About the Fallout show. I'll just move myself off Todd. And it's a nice little recap. But Todd makes a quick offhand comment about Fallout 5 that I'll just let play.
I think we made Fallout 6.
Yeah, we know all about Fallout 5. We're not telling anyone.
Okay. Todd, everything about Fallout 5 now, go.
Well, there were some things I said, don't do this, because we are going to do that in Fallout 5. But I think the intent of when you see that, it's how we approached it. I think it's one thing that's unique about this sort of, we'll call it, genre translation of something, whether it's a game or a comic or some other book, is that it wasn't a translation of an existing story. It was, what would the next thing be? It just happens to be a TV show. And that.
Yeah. It sure do. It sure do. I mean, he says we are doing that with Fallout 5. So he says he has ideas, things they might have wanted to do in the show. He specifically said, don't do that.
Oh, no, I'm kind of not buying this.
We want to do that. So again, kind of reinforces the idea that BGS, Todd, his team, they want to do it. They don't want to hand it off to some totally separate developer. They want to do it.
Well, yeah, Todd Howard's ego is way too big, okay? He could probably fight with Pirate Software and the Lord DSP himself, okay? And I don't know, it would be kind of a stalemate, obviously. But yeah, Todd Howard does not want to give a single game away to any other studio, because the last time he did, we got Fallout New Vegas. And everyone loved it way more than Fallout 3, so there you go.
But I mean, maybe that's just reading into it. So, I mean, speaking of reading in as well, shout out to Todd's GMT. Look at this thing. You know this watch? I like watches. I like watches. I don't know if you know that about me, but I like.
Yeah, we know. You're a Nepo, baby. By the way, as far as... Still, no one has actually told me that this is wrong, that Luke comes from a very well-off family of lawyers. So, yeah. Obviously, you like expensive shit, because you have never actually looked even at the price of food in a grocery store.
Like watches. And Todd,
you probably don't even go to the grocery stores. You have people doing it for you.
Todd actually regularly has pretty nice watches on. He does pretty well for himself. This one is a pretty nice watch. This is used. Okay, this is a used one, and this is the one he's rocking. Todd knows what's up. Okay, Todd's using that.
By the way, the fact that Todd has a watch only that... Listen, Todd gets probably easy... Todd's... Oh, we probably know how much Todd makes per year, but it should be like 8 digits easily. How much does Todd Howard make a year? There we go. Todd Howard's salary is not publicly available. However, his net worth is estimated to be around 10 million. 10 million, that's 8. And his game director, executive Bethesda Studios, blah, blah, blah. No idea. Todd Howard will make 4 years ago. Yeah, easy, 8 mil. Easy. It's, what? So the fact that, by the way, Todd has such a cheap, dirty peasant watch, by the way, just kind of shows you how many levels of wealth exists. I would personally consider considering Minecrafting someone to get a watch that expensive. Oh, Luke is like, that I need to save my allowance from Daddy for at least a month to buy one. And Todd Howard is like, I'm gonna throw this in the trash and another one, and I'm gonna stop when I get bored because these things are not even money for me. Okay? It is kind of wild. People really don't understand wealth. Let me actually explain wealth to you, boys. Let me go into Paint so I can explain wealth for you, okay? It's gonna be easy, okay? Switching screens so you can see the Paint. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. This is Paint, okay? This is how wealth works. Let's take this, and let's say that this is 1,000. This is another 1,000. Okay, so that's 2,000. This is okay. This is 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Okay. And what happens? Oh, that's bad. And what happens when you have this? And then you go, okay, this is now 10,000. This is 20,000. Oops. This is 20,000. This is 40,000. This is 60,000. This is 120,000. This is 180,000. That's a lot of things. So, what happens now when you have that much money, and that's not even how much you make in a year. Todd Howard makes more than that in a month. So, what happens now when Todd Howard decides that he wants to buy one of them watches? Well, it's pretty simple. That's just a 1,000. Let's say he buys a watch for 1,000. That's just coloring away one of these, and he can do that every single month. He wants to buy 2 watches for a... Jesus Christ, this is actually bad. 3,000, 4,000. He has currently bought 5 watches for 1,000. Barely visible. But the trick is, he can... Wow, this is really bad. Look at this. Oh, this vanished, but it doesn't matter. Okay, because you can barely even notice that it vanished. This is one watch. This right here is one watch. If I don't color it white like this, you can't even... Camera? You cannot even notice that this is gone. It's hard for you to notice. And Todd Howard probably makes more than that a month. So it's not exactly a big deal for Toddy Boy to do this. This is how Belt works. Imagine how this, by the way, looks when we get, I don't know, when we fill all of this and get to 1 million. It gets completely wild and insane, obviously. Anyway, back to Luke yapping about things. Camera?
Fallout first money in a good way. Give him that. Sorry, Todd. You can't wear anything around me. I'll spot it. I know what you're doing. It's a nice watch. Genuinely a very nice watch. But okay, this kind of brings us up to today, okay? Like, Todd has refused to acknowledge or say timeline-wise if Fallout is next. The one time he suggested it might be next, he walked that back and said, no, I just meant generally it'll come after this point, which is technically true of everything in existence that isn't already. Like, yeah, at some point in the future, I will walk up those stairs.
True,
I'm not saying
actually,
I'll do it
true.
right now or next or anytime soon, but eventually, yeah, probably. It's just not really that helpful of a thing. But he already walked it back. And then other times he's mentioned that they have a design doc. He's mentioned that they have ideas. They had to tell the show not to do certain things because they knew what they wanted to do with Fallout. But okay, fast forward the clocks to 2025. That's where we are.
Todd Howard allowed the Fallout TV show to completely rewrite, retcon, and destroy all the good lore. That's 10 out of... This is definitely... This is 100% worth... Wait a minute, boys. This is 100% worth a thumbnail, okay? That Luke face, Jesus. I mean, my man has a face. A face that says 1,000 words. Very good. Let me just save that real quick because, man, that is a good one. That is a good one. Luke, you should use this yourself. This tells a story, okay? This tells a better story than those gay craft beers that people drink.
Right now. And in this beautiful year, we've had a couple of leaks and suggestions, insinuations, dare I say, about Fallout coming from various sources, both of whom are journalists that write for various gaming publications. This first one is a little snippet of the Friends Per Second podcast, where you'll recognize Skill Up and Jake, of course, from Game Ranks. And this guy down here is a man named Mr. Midler. Specifically, his name is Jordan Midler, and he is a writer, reporter, I guess, for VGC, which is one of my favorite gaming publications as well. And he, in this podcast, was talking about some of the stuff with Fallout. Let's see what he had to say.
Fallout is the big one. I cannot believe that they didn't immediately start work on a Fallout 5 because Todd's not going to make it. Todd's not going to make it, man. He's not going to make the game. He will make it to that point of life, hopefully, at the time of recording.
In the whole context, I encourage you to watch the whole podcast.
Damn.
In the broader context of the discourse, this still hit my ear weird because it sounds like...
By the way, if you got to this moment, do you like the purple thing around it? I think it's neat. I decided, hey, let's sprucey-goosey things up a little bit. A little bit of sprinkle there, and now we're gay. It is what it is, boy. Anyway, you like it? Maybe we should do a better color, like pink. Or, well, no, this is already purple. I guess a different shade of purple.
He's saying Todd's just gonna explode or, like, dissolve into dust or something. Like, get Thanos snapped away. He's not gonna make it. I don't know. But again, I'm going to reframe this in a moment where it might make sense. Because right now, based on the presumption that Fallout 5 comes out in like 2032, Todd right now is like 54 years old. So he'll be in his early...
Okay, we have heard this. I think we're going to actually stop here. My theories, they're probably wild, Luke. They're probably wild. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Fallout 5 is way closer than people think. Because it's just they need to capitalize off of the Season 2 hype. 100% it's happening. Maybe not at the start, so people don't have a split attention, but I think whenever Season 2 ends is when Fallout 5 is going to be announced. That's my current estimate. I don't know how everything else works into this, but I think that's the reality what's happening. I think that Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls is going to be made at the same time because Bethesda's garbage and Microsoft knows that. So there we go. That's it. That was Luke Steffens, 10 out of 10. Bye!